So part of the reason I made partner and principal so early, honestly, is just that I brought in more than $700 million in assets in less than 5 years. And I set up my family to have a different life. And like, I was just driven every day. About being a financial advisor is it's unlimited income potential, right? And so I was just, driven to get there. And so like, I was willing to feel everything, do anything, work any amount of hours and get there. You have to work hard in this career to have amazing results. And I think a lot of it is like, you look at people that are really, really successful, but not sort of like peeling back the layers or looking under the iceberg of like what builds that success. And a lot of it is just putting in a lot of time.
Welcome everybody to High Performance Financial Advisor podcast with me, your host, Tony Bates. If you're listening today, obviously I have to ask you to like and subscribe, especially if you want to hear this great guest that I've got today. So I've got Veronica Karas here today, who's a principal certified financial planner at CapTrust, deep fiduciary commitment with a passion for empowering women, couples and families to align their wealth with their life goals, I believe. And I understand that you were also the youngest ever partner, is that right? Made partner at the company at the youngest ever age for a female. So lots to uncover today. Welcome to the show, Veronica. Did I pronounce your surname correctly? Because I've asked you that 3 times before and I still think I got it wrong. So
it's very good. You got it. Almost on the head. It was perfect. Thank you for having me. It's good.
Thank you.
That was good.
It's nice to see you. So Veronica, tell us about this, the youngest partner, because I think that's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, so I'm very fortunate in that I'm part of a great organization called CapTrust, and we're there are different ways you can slice and dice roles in a company, but we have our principals are called partners of the firm. Our partners of the firm are called principals, and I was very humbled and honored to make principal and partner at age 33.
Well done.
So it's been a few years now, but in retrospect, I remember thinking when I was like graduating college, I was 22 or whatnot, 21. I guess I never envisioned becoming a partner just like a decade later. You never think about that. So it's very cool. Very definitely.
And I hate to bring it up, but we're all aware of this. It's a male-dominated environment. How easy was it for a young female to become partner in this male-dominated world? What steps did you have to go through, and what challenges did you have?
Yeah, so I read a statistic recently that I think only 24% of financial planners, certified financial planners, are women, but actually still in the industry, only 15% of advisors are women. So definitely male dominated. I got really lucky, and I'll also say I'm the only female partner in my office, so maybe this is not a great example, but I don't know that it was hard in the sense that like it was any harder than I expected it to be.
Okay.
But I will own that I think I work harder than maybe some counterparts of mine that are also partners, without being insulting. I'll say that. Or trying to be insulting. I'll say that. I got really lucky with the team that I'm a part of, and the 3 senior partners who are all men, but I never felt in my current company where I've been I've been here almost 10 years. I was with prior companies before this. Where I am currently, I never really felt that I was disadvantaged for being a woman. I actually most of the time have felt as a financial advisor that clients open up more to women, and like I've been additive to relationships that are where the relationship is a little bit male dominated. But we're in a world now where, sort of traditionally, it's being turned over. There are more and more women who are primary breadwinners in their house. There are more and more women that are sometimes the only breadwinners in their house. And, the world is evolving. And I think I'm really excited for like the next generation of women, because for me, one of the things that was difficult was I didn't have another woman to follow, whose footsteps to follow in and see how it was done. I kind of just, I I did what the men did because that was
What?
like the only
I'm
thing
not-
I saw in front of me, And the thing is, I was really, I didn't have my first child until I was 32. And that helped a little bit also, admittedly, like, cause I worked like I didn't have kids until I had kids. Right. And so, I think now that there are a lot of women sort of rising through the different through like the different levels of bureaucracy across different types of organizations. This is not just true of the financial industry, but true everywhere, I think.
Yeah.
Now that there are more and more women sort of paving the path, at least like for the next generation of women, there's a blueprint to follow. Like, if somebody else has done it, you could do it too. And a lot of sort of the, I guess, inner kind of talk that I had with myself is just like, well, what do I think a woman principal would do in this? Like, what am I imagining? And that's like, it's a little bit difficult. And it's also, you have to be, and I became really early on, for better or worse, get really comfortable having uncomfortable conversations to sort of, to toot your own horn, because no one's going to like do it for you. I learned that really early on. Maybe it was a bad modeling in the, in the experiences that I had, but the people who were loudest, and they were typically men, loudest about their success, got a lot of the accolades. And I kind of embraced that, not because it felt natural for me, but because I felt like it was the only way to be seen for all the work that I was doing.
I think they call that peacocking, don't they? Is that called have you ever heard of that peacocking, when you flare your wings?
Yes,
Are you saying that you need to peacock to be successful?
I think you do have to, not to be successful, but I think if you want to be, you have to toot your own horn a little bit. You have to peacock a little bit, at least early on, so that you're noticed. Because the thing is, like, you take any organization of size, it's really easy to be the quiet one that gets lost in the sauce and in the shuffle.
That's really true. Okay, well, this is your chance to peacock on a podcast right now. So tell us about your achievements then. Just shout now. You've got sort of a few minutes here to peacock. I know it strikes me, I've spoken to you before, you are a humble individual and it's not your natural thing, but I'm giving you and asking you to peacock now. Tell us about your achievements and what you've achieved so far in your career.
Thank you. So a big one for me was that I think set the stage early on was I graduated high school and college early. I did both within 3 years. I worked through both. That landed me as starting in the industry in 2008, which was a really fun time to become a financial advisor. Of course, I didn't know I was going to be a financial advisor at the time. I started doing marketing for a life insurance company. I pivoted from there and joined a registered investment advisor, fiduciary. That's where I really pivoted to becoming a financial advisor. So that was around 2011. I pivoted towards being an FA. For the first 4 years, I kind of sat quietly in a small office and did my work and all of that. And then in 2015, the administration at the time was trying to pass the Department of Labor fiduciary rule. And I got picked up by a major investment bank because I had worked with an RIA. I had a miserable experience working at that bank for really awful people. Like, you're quintessential everything that's wrong with the financial industry type people. Yeah. Wow. So I had an awful experience. I was very vocal about it to management there. That didn't go my way, of course, and then met my now partners in the early part of the year in 2026 and pivoted over to an RIA. And there when I first started, I was the paraplanner for a very successful advisor, my now partner, Alan Kleinberg, who just, we just ran all over the place having meetings and bringing in business. And he advised, at the time, it was like 325 clients. And I worked 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. and did everything I possibly could to like be the best paraplanner I could possibly be for those clients. We merged into CapTrust in October of 2018. And I got the opportunity at that time. Alan actually said to me, why don't you try bringing in business, see what happens? And so I did. I didn't know how to do it, and I didn't know anybody. So I'm a refugee immigrant to the United States. I came here with nothing. 2 suitcases and $40. Nobody I knew had any money. Yeah. So
that's amazing. Well done, yeah.
Thank you. So nobody I knew had any money. My family didn't. Like, I had to, I started working when I was really, really young and paid my own way through everything. And, that's all to say everyone's really, really supportive. But at the end of the day, everything costs money too. And so I started talking to 5 people a day and just telling them what I did. My joke of a story is always that, in 2019, my husband would come with me very often late at night to Target at like 8 o'clock and help me find someone in the aisles and just to ask them, like, can I tell you about what I do? And
serious? Hold on. Are you serious? So
yeah. So
you would go up to someone cold in Target and say, hi. Did you choose a specific aisle that we're in based on, maybe the wealthier go in the cheese aisle or something like that? I don't know. Did you think?
No, and it wasn't just Target. It was anywhere that was open at 8 o'clock at night. So I was just, I have to tell 5 people a day what I do. So whether that was like accountants or attorneys or people within CapTrust, when we joined, it created an opportunity for me to have, a bigger firm to tell people. I was like, you know what? If I tell enough people because nobody knew who the heck Veronica Karas was. Like, I'm nobody. I'm literally a refugee immigrant to this country. And like, anymore. Why would anybody hire me? And so I was just trying to build connections. And, the question is always like, so did you actually bring on a client from Target at 8 o'clock at night?
That's what I was going to ask.
I did not actually bring on a client. I got really good at telling the story about what I did. That was the purpose of it. And I'll continue in a second with like how that continued also. But what I did do is I built connections with others through that. So like there's a lovely lady, Amy, that I met actually in Stop and Shop at 8:30 at night one day. It was really every store. She said, I like it. She was like, I don't have any money to hire you, but I love my accountant and he seems like he's trying to bring in business. Also, would you mind if I connected the two of you? And her accountant and I have actually built a great relationship and have referred like dozens of clients to each other over time. So like, you never know what's going to come out of Stop and Shop at,
that is amazing.
8 o'clock at night.
That's so good.
And then, so I had this 5 people a day thing that I was doing. I also built out, how I ask literally everyone that I meet for referrals. And I just got really comfortable being uncomfortable. It wasn't natural for me to talk about, what we did and the work that, we put into financial planning for everyone. It didn't come naturally to me. I just practiced a whole lot. And then 2020 hit. And I was no longer in Target at 8 o'clock at night because nobody was. We were all sitting home. And then I started reaching out and doing educational sessions for free for colleges, for libraries, virtually. I did a bunch of in-person library talks as well during 2019. That was how I got some of my 5 people a day in of just talking to people. I did have clients. I do now have clients that I met at the library in 2019.
Really?
That's very real.
Great. Yeah.
And then I did, free kind of education around the CARES Act back in 2020. Everybody might remember that. It was like when people were sort of getting like free money and what you needed to do to claim it and, all of that. I was trying to guest on every podcast I could possibly get on just to talk to something related to financial wellness and how you take care of your finances and, being stuck in the house with your spouse for the first time ever and how to manage that and not kill each other. And just strategies. And so, I just kept it going. I tried to find every which way I possibly could in 2020 to tell my story and to talk about what we do and how we take care of clients and how much we care. And I believe that laid the foundation 1000% for building a successful book of business. So, part of the reason I made partner and principal so early, honestly, is just that I brought in more than $700 million in assets in less than 5 years in terms of assets under management. But that came
What?
from just...
Hold on. You can't just brush past that amount. You brought in 700 million in 5 years.
Yeah.
And is that from Target or is that from
all sources all over the place. So what's great about CapTrust is the largest fiduciary of retirement plans in the country. We serve 6 million participants and advise them. So a lot of it was talking to individual participants of retirement plans, making connections across the firm with institutional advisors, making connections across the firm with literally anybody and everybody. And just this was part of my 5 people a day thing, meeting accountants, attorneys, asking for referrals. I mean, soup to nuts. It was literally, I was throwing darts at every possible dartboard I could. And I figured that if I could work like most people are unwilling to work for and really grind it out for a solid 4 or 5 years, I can create an amazing life. And that was my philosophy. It was just whatever it takes, grind it out. I worked 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Again, did not have kids at the time. And just, and during COVID, what else was I doing? I was either working and trying to bring in a prospect, or I was sitting there and watching TV. And so I figured I'd just work as much as I could.
Wow. That is absolutely how good is that? I mean, it takes some, what's the words? Cojones, should we say, to go up to anyone who you don't know and say anything. Yeah. Let alone even say in the current world, even to say hello is a big thing, isn't it? Let alone sort of talking about what you do. So how did you deal with the set? I'd imagine you get a lot of setbacks there, right? A lot. How did you keep yourself motivated and think, well, because a lot of people would do 1 or 2 and think this is ridiculous. I'm in Target on a Monday night asking people if they, so a lot of people would walk away. I think I might do after a couple. How did you keep yourself motivated, and what did you learn about yourself in terms of dealing with failure, I guess, to get you to where you are today?
Yep. I gamified it. Honestly, I just thought it was funny. I thought every single no was a not yet. Anytime somebody said no to me, I would go up to people and be like, hi, I don't mean to disturb your evening. If you have 2 minutes, I'm just trying to practice something and get better at the work that I do. Could I just tell you about what I do? If you want, you can give me feedback. If not, you can literally walk away from me after I'm done. That was my, middle of the aisle pitch. I wasn't asking for a lot, just 2 minutes of time. And most people were really nice and they engaged. The people who were, who said no, I don't have time for this. I said, well, I hope I get to see you next Monday so that you do have time for it. I just assumed no meant not yet. You'll listen to me next week, and I just threw it out there. And I gamified it. For me, it was find 5 people and make sure I had 5 people, and I didn't care where they came from. And, the earlier in the day I could get it done, the less nights I had to spend at Target. Yeah. But, sometimes the day didn't unfold that way, and I had to find 5 people walking the aisles in different places. I mean, it was anywhere and everything. I will tell you, every Starbucks employee in my local town knows exactly what I do. Yeah. My dry cleaner does. Everyone who works at my nail salon does. Most of the guests do. All my hair people do. And some of them are clients. It just happened that way over time. And so, a lot of times, when I meet younger advisors, one of the first questions I have is, how many people that you interact with on a regular basis actually know what you do? You go to the hair salon, you go to the barber shop, you go to drop off your dry cleaning, you have a dog walk or whatever it is. How many people actually know what your life is about?
I think that is great, because everybody, it's so simple really what you're saying there, but it's so underused. Everybody needs financial advice, whether they want to pay for it or whether they actually use it. Everyone needs financial advice. So it's not like you're telling people what you do when there's going to be no relevance to them, because it's going to be relevant to every single person you speak to, I'd imagine. But it takes some serious courage to do what you've done there, I think, surely. And So the 700 million in 5 years, I mean, well done, because I really admire everything you've said there, because it's not easy being uncomfortable and doing those things, when you're getting setbacks.
Thank you.
How much of it was from internal meetings, and how much was it external, the work that you were doing? I suppose obviously if you're in a big company, you've got accountants, solicitors, you've got that internal infrastructure to generate new clients. That's great. Mm-hmm. How much do you know how much roughly was? Oh, you do.
Yep.
Right, there you go.
It's roughly about 50-50. Yeah, it's roughly about 50-50. So 50 internally, referrals from existing clients, of existing relationships. We call internal between the institutional and the private wealth side. External, like everything from podcasts, library talks. I've published 3 books in that time frame. And writing articles, and finding random people and meeting their accountants and everything else. The other half is from that.
Great. So I mean that's incredible. So how much? Obviously, you've gone from no clients, and then you've done all this work, and now I'd imagine you've got lots of clients. How have those daily targets or the gamified targets changed? What do you do now? Because I'd imagine you still want to gamify your targets. How have your targets changed, and what are they now? What's the difference, I guess, from 5 years ago to now?
Yeah, so I had some misses along the way that I'm playing catch up on. So a lot of the time I would meet someone and that person would become a client, and I wouldn't take the time to get to know their existing accountant or their existing attorney or the people in their lives. So the last few years I've been trying to just do relationship catch up a little bit on relationship building. I don't necessarily have a set business goal at this point. I've kind of I love the clients that I work with. I love growing the business. I'm very, very fortunate that a lot of the referrals that I currently get are the primary way that I build business now is through referrals, but that's from like a relatively, I'll say like mature book of business in terms of size, right? So I think Michael Kitces did a study on this and said like once you get to like 51 clients, you start getting enough referrals that your business can kind of like maintain and grow at a reasonable rate by itself. And so in my head, I was like, okay, if I get 102 clients, I can double the referral rate. If I get 204, it'll double from there. I kind of just like mapped it out that way. And now I'm in a position where I'm actually mentoring and training younger advisors to create their dream careers along the way. And so my hope is to help other advisors here close business and build their practices more than building my own at this point.
Amazing. So when you're mentoring the younger advisors, then what's if they had to do one thing to be successful, what would that one thing be?
Pick up the phone. That's what I always tell people is pick up the phone. I mean, most people know what to do. They just care about how they feel. And I don't mean to say this in a very like dismissive way, but like I would call people or I'd go to Target and I would have the 5th person if I was hungry, sad, not feeling it, feel like I look a million and one things. People get caught up in feeling uncomfortable. And if you're willing to, and I forgot who said, I heard this line once, but so no attribution to me, but if you're willing to feel anything, you can do everything. And so like, I just don't care if like somebody thinks like I'm an idiot in the aisle of Target. Like it doesn't bother me at all. Like I had to get over that hurdle of like somebody caring about what someone is going to think to just like eye on the prize, focus on my goal. And so like if your the big question is just sort of like, are the daily activities you're doing actually moving the needle towards your goal? And if they're not, do the things you're supposed to be doing. That's really what it is. It's like the number one thing I tell people is like pick up the phone. Right? There's someone like, especially when you join an organization, get to know the accountants, the attorneys, get to know every single person that works there, get to know what their story is, get to know, like I always use this really silly example, but when I moved towns, I had to get a new dog walker. So I went on like care.com and I looked up a dog walker. And in our first, she came prepared to meet me just to like let me know how much she loves dogs and see them interact. And that's all great. But I spent the time to like get to know her life. Like, what's her family about? What's her life about? Who is she as a person? One, because she's coming into my home on a regular basis when I'm not there, and I want to feel comfortable with that. But two, because it's always an opportunity. And so, I got to know her life. And then like 4 years later, she was getting married and relocating to Florida. And the person she was marrying like came from a wealthy family. And, she was like, hey, I remember 4 years ago, you told me you were a financial advisor that helped people make good decisions about their money. Like, could you help us out?
Oh, that's
And
brilliant.
so like it will come full circle to you if you tell the story enough. I always talk to the people that and I'm not naturally an extrovert. I'm very introverted.
No, I don't believe
so,
that.
like,
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. You strike me as
this is very, very forced. I have to tell you, like, so
Okay.
I was just very determined to be successful. Like it started from that. I grew up really poor. I wanted my kids, when I set up my family, to have a different life. And like, I was just driven every day. And like the great thing about being a financial advisor is it's unlimited income potential. Right. And so I was just, driven to get there. And so like, I was willing to feel everything, do anything, work any amount of hours and get there. And like, if you do it, it works. Like, you know what I mean? If you call the people in your proverbial Rolodex or your phone, an easy thing that I start with when I'm mentoring somebody who's like, I want to grow as fast as possible. It's like, great, go through the contacts in your phone and write out the name of every person who you haven't told that you're a financial advisor. Forgetting telling them what you do.
That's great.
You haven't told them you're a financial advisor. And start there. Not because that person is necessarily going to become a client, not because you're going to give them a pitch. The thing is, I just want to tell you about what I do every day and how I take care of people. And maybe 3 or 4 years from now, there's going to come an opportunity in their life and they're going to remember you. And that's like planting the seeds.
Amazing. It's interesting because I think if you have any training on like LinkedIn, they say you shouldn't talk about what you do. You should talk about how you help someone. Mm-hmm. Do you use that sort of thought process when you talk? So rather than say I'm a financial advisor, you go, I help people. What's your pitch
what you actually do? Yes.
Yeah. What's your line? If you're talking to me and I'm in the cheese aisle at Target. Imagine now I'm looking at the Stiltons. What are you saying to me?
Yeah, so I would say, I work as part of an amazing team. My partner, David, started the firm back in 1981 with the belief that the right way to give financial advice is to take care of every client like their family. And we help people organize every aspect of their lives to make sure that their dreams come true, whatever that looks like for you. So whether it's, making sure your kids inherit a huge boat of money or $0, or you give it all to charity, or you want to build a big house out of cheese, we're here to make your dreams come true. And
it wouldn't smell very nice though, would it?
Whatever it looks like for you, we help you organize your finances, make sure you're making the most of it. So very often we'll catch mistakes on tax returns or even in estate plans that aren't optimized. And I would just love if this at all, resonates with you, I would love the opportunity and at no cost to you to look through what you currently have going on in your financial life and just give you my 2 cents on it.
Fantastic. It's still, even when you said all that then, and even me as, I recruit financial advisors, no one do it, you still think, oh, you're going to look through my finances. It's still, it's quite scary, isn't it? I think to money, everyone's so secretive about money. The thought of letting someone look through your finances is quite terrifying, isn't it? I suppose. But, I guess that's probably the bigger challenge as much as anything, right?
It can be. It depends how people look at it. So, I'll say everything we share is completely everything you share is completely confidential. I'm happy to sign a 2-way NDA agreement with you if you'd like. The idea is just like, if you can peel back the curtain a little bit, I'm willing to bet that I can find you dollars to save somewhere.
God, you're good. You're all right. You've done this a few times, haven't you? Done this. That's very good. So obviously you've got these, well done, first of all, because I think it takes tremendous courage. And I think you look at what high performance means. you know, I mean, courage is probably a big thing, and doing some of the things, you know, I guess. So well done. I mean, when you think about high performing financial advisor, when it comes into your head, what are the key traits that you think they've got to have? If you were hiring someone and you thought, are they going to be a high performer? What are the key traits you think they must have for anyone who wants to get there?
Yeah. So first and foremost, I think it has to not be a one person show. So if they're all about themselves, I actually think they can't be that successful. So
do you think so?
Yeah, I do. I think, you know, there are a lot of different ways to do it, but my personal preference, if I was hiring a financial advisor, would be someone who has an incredible team. Because it's one thing if somebody is like out there, like really like I was at the time, like trying everything possible. But at the end of the day, there has to be a team in place to actually like deliver on the promises the person is making. How are you actually going to have the time to read over my estate planning documents and like all of that? That has to be a very real thing that's solved for. So you're delivering on the promises. I think the biggest key to success for anyone is do what you say you were going to do when you said you were going to do it. That's it. Like, I really think it's so simple that like, and people miss it, and people, for a variety of reasons. But for me, like if I tell somebody I'm going to get back to them on something by like 9 a.m. on Thursday, if that means I have to stay up all night Wednesday because I underestimated how long it would take and finish by 8:59 in the morning, like I will do whatever it takes to get that thing by 9 a.m. on Thursday. Like when I said it was going to be done, that's when it's going to be done, no matter what it takes from me. And I think the willingness to just be uncomfortable very regularly, like that's really what it is. Like I can't tell you like, and that's very real, is like there's nothing comfortable about working 15 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's nothing comfortable about going up to random people in a grocery store or somewhere else. It's just like you have to, if you're willing to do the things other people aren't willing to do, then you end up with an extraordinary life.
Brilliant. Well, and I mean, I'm sitting here going, wow, like it's not, you're simplifying some very difficult things, I think. I mean, but I guess they are simple things that we make difficult, right? We make these, going up to talk to 5 people. Is that really difficult? It shouldn't be, but obviously it sounds it. But actually, if you break it down like that, you're simplifying things that we make or we perceived to be difficult, I guess, aren't you? Which is great. It doesn't need to be as difficult as we make it. Yeah. Well, how have you changed while becoming a mother? Right? Is because obviously, you know, working 15-hour days, 7 days a week is probably a little bit trickier when children are involved. I imagine. So, how have you adapted your the way you work, I guess, with motherhood? Because from my experience, motherhood is the most difficult job in the world. Financial advisor's pretty hard, but compared to being a mother, how have you balanced those two challenges together to make them work?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I'm really fortunate that I have an incredible amount of family support, and without them, it would be really, really impossible. So I work 5 days a week, 11 hours a day now. So instead of 7 days a week, 15 hours a day. So it is significantly less.
Just the 55 hours now. That's all you do now.
Yes, just the 55.
It's part-time. That's part-time.
That's all to say, like, I'm still working really, really hard.
That's a lot of hours still, yeah. There's a lot of hours still. Just so you know, that is more than most people work in a week, right? You're still aware of that, yeah?
Yes, I am. And you know, the great thing about being a financial planner is like that those hours shift from time to time, right? So I drop my kid off at school in the morning, and then I stay late at the office, or I'll log in on a Saturday. And you know, for me, I've never really counted the hours. I use it as an illustration of like, you have to work hard in this career to have amazing results. And I think a lot of it is like, you look at people that are really, really successful, but not sort of like peeling back the layers or looking under the iceberg of like what builds that success. And a lot of it is just putting in a lot of time. I think, you know, like I said, I have a lot of family support, and I have a great team. I've built out a team to support, you know, do the work, you know, that we promise our clients we're going to successfully deliver on. And we've built out a team to actually be able to do that. And that's really important to me also, is like knowing that the team shares the vision of taking care of every single client like family, and, you know, really doing everything we possibly can for them.
I think there's going to be a lot of people that will listen to this and be very inspired by you, I think, in terms of, I think a lot, there's so many aspects to some of the things you said there, whether it's coming to the country with nothing, whether it's being a mother, whether it's being starting with no clients and all these things where you pretty much started from there and gone to there in many different aspects of your life, right? Which is really, really admirable. So congratulations on all your achievements, first of all. What's next for you? What's next? Because obviously going from nothing to something is very different from going to something else. Yeah, I think because the motivation is different, isn't it? I came from a back probably similar to yourself, I guess, where you need to do it, otherwise you're not going to be able to live. Whereas now it's kind of like you need to do it for different reasons. What's next for you, and how are you going to keep that fire burning to make sure you achieve it?
Yeah. So, one of the reasons I got into this industry is my grandfather was financially taken advantage of.
Okay.
And he passed away in August of this year, and I think about him every single day. He was like my hero. But one of the things is that keeps me motivated is really just, I know there's someone out there still in today's world that is being financially taken advantage of, and I will meet them and I will turn things around for their family, for their lives. And like, that's my biggest motivator in general, is like, I haven't met everyone and talked to everyone, and I don't know with absolute certainty that everyone has the right financial stuff in order. I'm sure there's someone out there earning a really high commission off of somebody else's back, and if I can build an incredible team to replicate the care with which we really handle our clients and multiply that impact, right? So my motivation is not, I know that I'm one human and limited by that, is to teach everyone to sort of mentor everybody to do the same thing, to care about people the same way, to look after people the same way, so that, if there are 10 people running next to me, that's times the impact that we can have on making sure that that people who are not so great in the industry don't get to continue for very long. And I love that the industry is moving more towards a fiduciary approach. I think that's the best thing to happen to the financial industry in a really long time, but we're not 100% there yet, and so there's still a lot of work to be done. So that's part one. And then I'll say part two is I do a lot of financial literacy work. So I've published I've published 3 books related to financial literacy across different stages of life. And that's a big thing too, is, we have a debt crisis as a country. And I really think if people really understood what impact is on that student loans would have on their lives, they'd never take them. And so there's a lot of work to do on that front too, for sure.
Amazing. I've really, really enjoyed this. I think that's a great listen. You'll inspire a lot of people. I have to ask every guest at the end, what's the one book that they would recommend to an advisor looking to take that next step in high performance? It could be one of your own 3 books that you've written, but that would be a little bit biased, but you should mention one of those at least. So you can have 2 books, which is one of your own and one that someone else has written.
Yeah. So my book that I would recommend for somebody else is called The Go-Giver. It's a little tiny book. It's like the quickest book you'll ever read. It's very, very short. And it is, I was just looking up the author, by Bob Berg. And that book is just about how to do business the right way. And I believe everybody should take that approach. My book says the Money Matters series of books. So there's Money Matters, everything you should have learned in school but didn't. Money Matters, Merging Lives, Merging Finances, and Money Matters, Avoid Getting Sandwiched Out of Retirement. There's 2 more books in the pipeline once my kids are at least 18 years old. They're on the back burner at the moment. But that's what I'll use when I get all that time back in my life, eventually, is to write 2 more books, because I really want to, for people who, for a variety of reasons, it doesn't make sense for them to hire necessarily a financial advisor to manage their assets, because, everything has a cost. I want to have a reference guide, if you will, to making good financial decisions at every stage of life. So I'm committed to creating that.
Veronica, thank you for being an inspirational human being and a great guest. I honestly think, some of the stuff you said there is incredible, and I'm really in awe of that. And I feel like I need to go and tell more people about what I do for a living now as well. So I'm going to go to Target myself and just at least, I genuinely believe I need to. So thank you for being a great guest, Veronica. If anyone wants to get hold of Veronica, I'll put some contact details in the podcast. But thank you for being a wonderful guest, and I look forward to following the rest of your exciting journey.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This has been so much fun, and thank you for the invitation. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to High Performance Financial Advisor. If you found today's episode valuable, make sure you subscribed on your favourite podcast platform so you don't miss the next one. Until next time, keep performing.